it's a really interesting game. I know a lot of people maybe saying, "Oh well, it's seven versus what 14th in the league. Why is this such a big game, or why do you think it's such a big game?" And in my opinion, the reason for it is because Scarlets have found a little bit of form, but haven't got the results. They haven't got the wins. They've played okay, considering where they were at the start of the season. They're playing a lot better rugby. Their defence has tightened up a bit, and they've got three big games coming up: Ulster at home, Zebra away, Dragons at home. And if they could win three of those games, it would take a bit of pressure off Wayne Peel. There's lots of players that have been leaving. Their social media has been every seems every few hours been pumping out, big players that are going to be leaving. Jonathan Davies, just to name one, like stalwart. Johnny McNichol, he's already away. He's playing for I think the Crusaders down in New Zealand, and there's a raft of other players. So it's going to be an emotional day for them. Obviously, there'll be press conferences during the week chatting about these players and what it means to play for the Scarlets. The weather looks to be absolutely fantastic for the weekend. We know that the Scarlets love to play rugby, and as do Ulster. And Ulster want to throw it around, and it's a similar thing for them. They're off the back of a couple of good results, and they need to keep that going, because if they don't, the other teams around them don't seem to be slipping up. And unfortunately, again for Ulster, they gifted Benetton 2 points at home. That losing bonus point and the 4-try bonus point, and now they're, excuse me, locked horns on 44 points each in the table. Granted, Benetton maybe have a slightly tougher run in, but you're only saying that a slightly tougher run in if Ulster win this weekend. If Ulster lose, Ulster have got Leinster at home, Munster away, and I think Leinster might go a little bit, stronger than the teams that they've sent out in the URC in the last couple of months. So it's a huge game for Scarlets and for Ulster. And just to touch on last point on this game, Donny, is if the Hollywood Bet Sharks win the Challenge Cup, then it's only the top 7 sides in the URC will go into the Champions Cup, and that is a massive, massive coup financially. TV exposure. I'm sure merchandise, selling shirts, sponsorship for the following season. And you and I have both talked at length through, Ulster's financial troubles over the last 6 months, and that would be a huge, huge dent in, the path that they're on, to try and get back up the league a little bit and try and grow confidence and try and get more stability about the club. If for some reason Sharks win, Ulster finished in 8th, that really would be the kick in the stones, like that we all don't want as Ulster fans and Ulster supporters. So bottom line is they get a result this weekend in Scarlets. I think they can get into that 7th spot, no problem. If they lose,
Yeah.
it's going to be a really tough ask, and we'll take it from there. But yeah, tune in. I think it's 3 o'clock or 3:15 at the weekend. Myself, Tom Shanklin, we'll be working that game, so looking forward to it. Being in that position where you have a couple of weeks off and you go into the game and you're super fresh, right? You're absolutely buzzing, you're flying, and that's exactly what Leinster looked like for 40 minutes. But when you haven't played for a few weeks, and it comes to 65 minutes, and you maybe under the pump for 3 or 4 minutes, with multi-phase, and like Northampton were attack after attack and sort of finding their groove. Then all of a sudden the lungs start to get start to burn a little bit more. The legs become heavier. But when you've had maybe 2 or 3 80 minutes under your belt, so the old saying, "Oh, you're match hardened," but there is something about it, and that's why teams as well would pick up the ante in training weeks leading into big games as well. Pretty intense sessions, maybe on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. People are going, "Well, what are you doing that for?" It's just so that you get that feeling of what it's potentially going to be like in the game. And obviously these guys haven't had that feeling for a few weeks. And then in the last 10 minutes of the game, they nearly lost it. Like, and I know there's been a lot of chat about Matthew Raynal and the way he refereed the breakdown, and that Leinster were all over the place. I think a lot of that came from the commentary, to be honest with you. I think a lot because it was an English biased commentary with Lawrence Delanio, and who's the other one? I can't remember.
Healy,
But
Austin Healy.
yeah, Austin Healy. They were obviously with the fight back of Northampton that was coming. They want, and I would probably be the same if it was an Irish side. You almost want the decisions to go their way to tie the game up or to make it a dramatic finish to the game. And yeah, like the ruck was refereed the same way from minute 1 to minute 80. So and it was the same for both sides. It's just Leinster were a little bit cuter. Um, some people may call it cheating, but the best sides in the world cheat as much as they can, and they were very good at it. So yeah, this Leinster side I feel need to play a little bit more rugby, and I think Leo Cullen will do that. They'll want to finish in top spot. The Bulls have got a big game against Glasgow. If they beat Glasgow, then they jump up to maybe 55, 56 points. If Glasgow don't get anything out of it, they stay in 58. And then Leinster, if they got 5 points this weekend against the Ospreys, then they go to 59. And all of a sudden, they're top of the league again with Ulster at home and what is it, Connacht away or something like that. So
Yep.
you would expect them to hold on to that position. So I think Leinster are going to go go pretty strong against Ulster, and then they've got Toulouse in a final. So you've got two big games in the URC, play pretty strong teams. Maybe mix and match a little bit. When I say strong teams, you don't have to play 80 minutes, 40, 50 minutes, especially if you're cruising in the matches and then take it from there. But they have to have a bit more match fitness. And it's not sharpness. It's not being sharper because they looked sharp. It just felt like they just lost a bit of energy in that second half. And for me, that's just down to not playing enough over the last month. So let's see how this weekend goes. Plenty of competition in the URC, and yeah, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of change in it, especially in that. Well, it is more or less, Donny, the top. You're probably going to go to 9. I don't think the Lions can get in. They're on 39 points. I don't think they have it. The Ospreys potentially they're on 40 points. So there's 9 teams fighting for realistically 8 places, but financially 7.